Yo. Thank you for listening to the Not So Creative Podcast. This is he. I'm going to do a quick show. Let's go over a couple quick things and then call it a day. I'm going to dedicate this show to my daughter. Happy birthday to the bean. You know, I love you and always thinking about you guys and just letting you guys know. And thanks to anybody who listens to the show. Check it out. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, Amazon Music. The list goes on and on. Appreciate all the support. Thanks for listening. So I'm going to talk about very quickly about the FIFA World Cup 26. There was announcements today about where the semifinals and the finals are going to happen. I'm going to try to go pretty quickly. I'm going to mention the brackets. I don't have the exact dates for everything. It's the long list of dates and so on and so forth. And again, this is for the FIFA World Cup 2026, which is happening in Mexico. These are the host countries, Mexico, U.S., and Canada. I'm going to try to put it together the best way possible. And I'm going to mention the cities and so on and so forth. And what I saw today on TV too, basically announcements from FIFA. And FIFA had some pretty good guests, I guess. They're trying to reach out to different, there's always ways to expand the World Cup and viewership and so on and so forth. So many times you need a little help from the celebrities. And they had about, I believe it was 3 celebrities, which big name celebrities. So here we go. So these are the brackets for the FIFA World Cup. These are the cities and the places that are going to host games. So the West Coast bracket, West table, is Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Then we have Central bracket, which is Guadalajara, Mexico, Mexico City, and Monterrey, Mexico. Then we have Houston, Dallas, and Kansas City, which is in the U.S. So you have the Centrals a split between U.S. and Mexico and the host cities for that area. Then the East, it's going to be Atlanta, Miami, Toronto, Canada, Boston, Philly, New York / New Jersey because the stadium is in MetLife, which is it's in the state of New Jersey, but they still call it New York. So that's basically it. So I'm going to move on and just specify where the first game is going to happen from what they announced. And this is FIFA. At that time when it was going on, Kevin Hart was in the studio with the FIFA president and the host that was there. So the first game, the opening game for the whole World Cup is happening in Estadio Azteca, which is in Mexico City, Mexico, on June 11th. That's the opening game. The opening match in Canada, these are the dates I caught. Opening match in Canada, which is, I believe, is the first time that Canada's hosting a World Cup match. It was either between Vancouver, Toronto. Toronto ended up getting the opening match in Canada, which is basically Vancouver's still going to have the games. It's just a matter of that the first game that's happening, the first official game is going to happen in Toronto, not Vancouver. Vancouver is still going to have their games. So when they announced that, Drake was there. Speaking to the FIFA president and talking about how Toronto's a great place, it's a good sport, it's a good sports city, it's a great city, multicultural city, melting pot of a city, a lot of great things. I mean, what would you expect Drake to say, right? And he just left at that. So Toronto's getting the opening game in Canada, which is on June 12th. Then they went to Los Angeles, where it was Kim Kardashian with her son. I believe his name is Saint. And they announced that the U.S. soccer team will play their first game in Los Angeles. So, they had Kim Kardashian on there because if you notice, not sure, anybody follows her or not, but on her social feed, her son Saint, I believe it is, which I've seen on videos across, she goes out and takes him to soccer games. So they call her the extreme soccer mom. She's gone to Japan. She's gone to Miami for the Messi, to see Lionel Messi down there at Miami FC. And Neymar and Cristiano Ronaldo, all these games where her son has met all these players, of course, because, it is Kim Kardashian. She's a celebrity. So, of course, you're going to be able to meet him because I'm sure chances are the opposite. The player themselves want to meet her. So it's an easy thing, but it's still a very cool thing, though, because not everybody would do that anyway. So that's cool. So they had her there because of that. because of what she's done, for her son, and, he's involved in soccer and so on and so forth. And he loves soccer. So it's a cool thing. And in the studio, maybe I mentioned it, maybe I didn't. Kevin Hart was on there. So to jump forward, basically FIFA was saying that the way that they want the World Cup to happen, the way the scheduling was to make it easy for fans to travel from one city to another. So that's how they put it together. I don't know when the central bracket opening match is for, as far as that. But that's basically, but one of the things that they said is they want the scheduling to be easy to travel. If you go to a game, you can still make it to the other game within, whether it's its time zone or just travel-wise, hour-wise, to make it easy to get from one point to the other. Because, when it comes to the World Cup, the same team normally doesn't play in the same place all over again, usually. So that's that. So the semifinals for the 2026 World Cup are going to happen in Atlanta and Dallas. That's the semifinal. And then the big announcement, which is at the very end of the broadcast that they were doing for all the matches, scheduling, so on and so forth. So, it's a big schedule. A lot of teams this year. Don't forget, host countries, Mexico, U.S., Canada. So all those three teams, their national teams automatically are in. So with that happening, they have to increase the teams. I can't remember how many teams are there. If it's going to be 48, I don't know what the number is. Maybe someone in the chat, can correct it. Whether you go on YouTube or if you go to the YouTube channel, which is E-24G. Podcasts are also uploaded there. Same thing in Spotify, Apple. But if you want to leave comments, the site, you can go to there. Instagram, Adapt, EDAPT, LLC. There'll be links on there, I believe, for the YouTube page. So that, just to continue. And then the final of the World Cup is going to happen in New York City. Well, New York, New Jersey, which is MetLife Stadium, which is big. No matter where, all three countries are going to benefit. Hospitality, hotel, restaurants, things to do, businesses around, small business, big business, they're all going to benefit. Definitely the hospitality. Because, usually when you have a big event, hotels can increase the pricing for the events just like they normally do. So that's something that's going to happen. It's been a crazy week so far with a whole bunch of sports announcements. If you look back, this is the way the whole week ended before the start of the new week. It was announced today, which I think was a good day to announce it. There's nothing sports-wise that's happening that's really major. Last week you had, on the sports entertainment part of it, WWE had the Royal Rumble last Saturday. Monday they had their follow-up show. And then, of course, you heard the announcement of Lewis Hamilton going to Formula One. Speaking about Formula One. In Formula One, he's leaving Mercedes. This is his last year driving in 2024. Going to Ferrari, which is in 2025. Starts driving for that team next year. From what I read, he said it was his dream. I think it's every Formula One driver's dream to drive for Ferrari. Known for the history, the drivers, all that comes along with it. And he's already proven it's just a matter of that. Last year was just a frustrating year for him. So he's going to start clean and just start with a whole new team, which he knows most likely is the only team that can really compete against Red Bull. Even though I thought there was rumors that he was thinking about going to Red Bull, which that would have been crazy, having him versus Max with the two best cars. I don't think that was going to happen. And he didn't want to be like a second best driver at the moment. So why not go to Ferrari when you're proven you already have 7 world championships, right? He wants the 8th, even though he should have 8, actually. My opinion. Thought there was some conspiracy with that season that happened, the way it ended. He should have won, actually. I'm still surprised to this point that, you can't reverse that, but it is what it is, That doesn't mean I don't like Max Verstappen. I like the guy too. I don't have anything. I just, when you are into like the motorsports or follow drivers and racing, there's ones that we don't like. I just prefer to cheer for one more than the other. I don't have any dislike for any of them. That's just, it's usually the same thing in sports, as far as that. I try to keep an open mind. I'll take a side, but it doesn't mean that I don't like the other person. It's just basically I prefer to, cheer for this one or, support this one more. And then, of course, what else? Then The Rock came back. And this Thursday coming up, this next week, it's going to be announced that he's coming back. I mean, he is part owner now of TKO, which means that he's on the board. And he's making his choice to try to uplift the company and have the company make a lot of revenue, more, and make this probably the biggest event that they've ever come up with. And that's his goal. Started off great, makes the stock increase, bring a lot of revenue. So when they report it, they'll say, hey, you know what? Thank you for what you did. And, he only has a short time to do this anyway. So time is now. So that was big. Of course, though, in the sports entertainment, when it comes to wrestling, a lot of people weren't happy with the Cody Rhodes situation. It is what it is. He's going to get his story, whatever you want to call it. There's still 2 belts. He hasn't won any title, whether it's Universal or the WWE one. So let's get to that first, and then we can continue whatever story he goes with. Getting things that you haven't been able to capture before is a good thing. Yeah, and then, to finish it off with the FIFA week, as far as the announcements of who's going to get the final game. I don't know how they figure this out, if there's like a lottery system. Maybe someone can, elaborate on that. It's a great thing that New York is getting it, / New Jersey, but really New York is really going to benefit from it more. Well, I can't say that because New Jersey has built that nice mall out there. Was it the American Dream Mall? But either way, though, New York City, it's not as if you're not going to come to New York City. It's easy to get around. You can walk around the blocks. You can go street to street. You could take a cab. You could take the bus. You could take the train. Bars are open to 4 a.m. You have the Broadway shows over there. Movie theaters, you have Times Square. You have, Soho, Chinatown. There's so many places you can go. There's Uptown, beautiful park, Central Park. There's just so much to do in the New York City. So, I'm originally from there, so it's a great thing that's happening over there. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't even imagine, how crazy it'll be that weekend coming to when the final's going to happen there. And I wonder if they're going to do any modifications to the field or, it's not a soccer-specific stadium. Or I'll say football for anybody out, beyond the U.S. Not to offend, because I know it's football. It's over here, to say soccer is much better. That's just not to cause confusion. And, yeah, it should be a big weekend. Again, going back to the hospitality part of it, it's going to be crazy. Restaurants, theaters. I can't even imagine how it is to get a ticket, how to get a ticket, what the ticket prices will be for a final, how you can get them if it's a lottery system. If I remember, I think it is a lottery system. And that tickets end up usually with the reseller or a broker of some sort, which I'm sure the ticket price is going to be off the charts. And depending which team ends up being in there, can't even imagine, Yes, I mean, that's basically it. Then the other thing, there's nothing much more else to say, actually. That was pretty much it. That was as quick as I can go over it. Again, FIFA went a little bit out the way. Kevin Hart in the studio, talked to Drake about Toronto. Kim Kardashian in Los Angeles. They're trying to, it was a big thing. The announcement on a not so busy, crazy sports day. They took advantage of it. It's a good thing. Next week's the Super Bowl. I honestly don't really watch the NFL as much anymore. That's basically it. So, I'm going to just quickly say, and then tonight, I think it is, later on, if anybody who watches wrestling, there's the NXT, which is the developmental group where the younger signees of WWE are basically going through that group. Well, it's a mix. You have a mix of veterans, young guys. Usually if you're the young guy and you're signed, your dream is to go to the main roster, which means you get to travel around. They are actually traveling around. I think it's a premium live event. I think they're in Tennessee today for this one. Usually they're in Florida all the time. That's where they do their practices, their whole, their drills and rehearsals for everything they do. And that's what, ends the week there. Any questions, when you have any comments, things like that. Again, the YouTube is probably the best place you can go. Pass the word on. I appreciate everybody who listens. Dedicate the show to all my friends, family, closest friends. Listen to the other episodes. I'm going to try to keep on doing variety stuff. Whether it's sports, my interests, WWE, Formula One, soccer when I get a chance. And I'll do like little shows about going over scores and so on and so forth. As time goes on, when I have a little bit more time to put things together and organize it a little bit more, I'll try to do some interviews as well. And, appreciate it. Pass the word on. Instagram is Adapt, EDAPT LLC. YouTube is E-24G ! I have the notsocreative.org website. I believe it's still there. Then, of course, the Not So Creative podcast, the one you're listening to. Appreciate that. That's on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google, YouTube. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything else. There's a whole bunch of other apps you can use. I think it's on Deezer. Look it up. Give it a listen. Also, I'm trying to think who else. Listen to the interview I did with my cousin. She's the CEO of Art Tour International. That was, an interview with my cousin, which was my first, real serious sort of interview. It's a good listen as far as that. She kind of, hypes up her business. She has a book out too. Definitely support. And that's basically it. I appreciate everybody who listens. I'm grateful. Passing the word on. I will try to do shows in English, and I will try my best to do it in Spanish. It's not that as easy. There's certain words I got stuck on. And appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. I'm going to end it with this. Again, happy birthday to the Bean. Appreciate you. Love you. And for all those out there that listen, I appreciate the support. Keep on listening, pass the word on. And thank you again. And also Rob, of course. Can't forget Rob, because a lot of this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for him. I thought of the idea. At the same time, having friends that are very supportive, that are there for you all the time when you need them, that's what we need. So, I'm grateful of that. I'm grateful to have a friend like that. So, when we have guests over, usually have him on. And a lot of the stuff is not rehearsed with him. He actually just comes up with shit sometimes that just says it. It sounds just like so out the blue. That's just who he is. So, again, appreciate it. Listen to the other shows. Give me feedback. And I'll try to do another show soon. Reviewing little things during the week. Increasing listening, the podcast, feedback. Hopefully I'll be doing some shows live on YouTube at some point. And having guests, that's a goal. I want to have some, guests at some point and maybe graduate to getting bigger guests as soon, the more support I get, that may give me the avenue to do that. And of course, enjoy what I do. Also make it a business part of it. And thank you again. I'll see you guys. We'll finish it with this the same way we started. Gotta go out with a song, right? And thank you again for listening to the Not So Creative podcast.